Welcome to our deep dive, you guys, into the incredible world of bird courtship.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at dancing cranes, drumming cockatoos, and even hints that dinosaurs got their groove on.
Yeah. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
So much material.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because, I think when we delved into this topic, we quickly moved beyond that simple idea of, birds being driven purely by instinct.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a lot more complex than that.
It's way more complex.
Exactly. These displays are elaborate. Often, I think, even, arguably more nuanced and complex than anything we see in the human world.
Oh, absolutely. I was thinking that, too, as I was reading through all this material. I was like, man, what would be considered a grand romantic gesture for birds,
Yeah.
Because we think, a bouquet of roses is romantic, but, have you seen what some of these birds go to?
Think of the Japanese red-crowned crane.
Yeah.
There's incredible courtship ritual that involves a mesmerizing song and dance, almost like a graceful ballet.
Oh, yeah, it's so beautiful.
And they even vocalize specific phrases like, I have loved, I am loving, I will love.
Wow. Talk about commitment.
I mean, it really does highlight how these displays go far beyond simply, mating calls.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got these grand, almost theatrical displays, but even the seemingly simpler rituals are surprisingly complex.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, take the winter wren, for instance.
Yes.
It's a tiny little bird.
Yeah.
But its song is incredibly powerful and intricate.
I know, it's amazing. One of the sources described it as bursting upon the ear, expressive of both wild joy and tender sadness. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
This tiny little brown bird.
It's a great example of how even a seemingly simple bird song can be packed with information and complexity.
Mm.
And it really kind of begs the question, what are the females actually looking for in these displays?
Right.
What evolutionary forces have shaped these elaborate rituals?
Yeah, and that was kind of my question as I was looking at all this is what are they going for? What's the purpose of all this?
Right.
And one thing that really stood out to me was the black wheat ear and its impressive feat of strength.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible to give you some perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a 150-pound human carrying 10,000 pounds of rocks. That's the equivalent of what the male black wheat ear does to impress the female.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And why all this effort? Is he just trying to show off or?
Well, it seems to serve a dual purpose.
Mm.
It's not just about impressing the female, but also about demonstrating the male's potential for paternal care.
Oh, wow.
It's like he's saying, look how strong I am. I can provide for our young.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So a display of strength and commitment all rolled into one.
Uh-huh.
And speaking of commitment, let's talk about the palm cockatoo, the Ringo Starr of the bird world.
Ah, yes, the palm cockatoo, a truly fascinating species.
Not only does he have the rock star looks,
Right.
but he also makes his own drumsticks.
I know.
Tool making in the bird world.
It's incredibly rare, especially outside the context of foraging. So it's not about, finding food.
Mm-hmm.
He's crafting an instrument to attract a mate.
That is so cool. Okay, so we've established she's got the looks and the musical talent. What else?
Well, what's remarkable is that each male palm cockatoo has his own unique drumming style.
Really?
His own rhythmic signature, like a musical fingerprint.
So it's not just random banging. There's actually rhythm and musicality to it.
Yeah.
Wow, these birds are way cooler than I initially thought.
And get this, it might actually be a learned behavior.
Oh, really?
It seems to be culturally transmitted, only observed in certain populations.
So we're talking about culture in the bird world. That's amazing.
Yeah, it actually supports Darwin's theory about the universal appeal of rhythm.
Yeah.
He suggested it might be connected to, ancient shared brain functions.
That is wild. That is really wild. It makes you wonder about the connections between all these different creatures that we think are so different from us. Okay, so we've talked about individual displays, but what about when birds gather together for courtship? That brings us to lecking, right?
Absolutely. Lecking, where males gather to display for females, is a fascinating phenomenon, and it comes in a variety of forms.
Oh, wow.
Take the great snipe, for example.
Yeah.
These birds expend so much energy during their lecking displays that they actually lose a significant amount of body weight.
Oh, my gosh, really?
Yeah.
And the females are just there to observe.
Exactly.
They don't get anything else from the males.
It's all about the genes the females are choosing solely based on the male's displays, making it a pure genetic lottery.
Wow, high stakes.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about dinosaurs potentially lecking.
Well, there's evidence to suggest that some dinosaurs might have engaged in similar courtship rituals,
Wow.
though we can't know for sure, of course.
Trying to picture like a giant acrocanthosaurus doing a mating dance is pretty wild.
It is.
Okay, so we've got these different types of leks.
Yeah.
Some are more competitive, like with the greater sage grouse.
Yes. Their licks are quite a spectacle.
Yeah.
A lot of aggressive displays with the winner ultimately gaining access to the females.
Yeah, it's like a bird version of a gladiatorial contest.
Right.
But then you have cooperative displays like those of the lance-tailed mannequin.
Right.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Cooperative displays are a fascinating puzzle.
Yeah.
In the case of the lance-tailed mannequin, you have an alpha and a beta male working together to attract a female.
Working together, but only one of them gets to mate.
Yeah.
Why would a beta male forego his own chance to reproduce?
That's a question that has puzzled researchers for a long time.
Yeah, this is a mystery I need to understand.
What's the evolutionary advantage for the beta male?
Yeah, what's in it for him?
Right. We'll definitely need to delve deeper into that.
Okay, you've really piqued my curiosity now. So tell me, what exactly does this cooperative display look like? What are the alpha and beta males doing to impress this female?
Well, imagine a perfectly synchronized dance routine. High up in the forest canopy, the two males perch side by side, singing in perfect harmony.
So they're so synchronized that they sound like one bird.
Yeah, their calls are timed so precisely that they create this amazing stereo effect.
Oh, wow.
It's truly remarkable then. When a female enters the scene, the show really begins.
So they sense a female is nearby, and that's their cue to kick things up a notch.
Exactly. The males will perform a series of coordinated calls and flights, drawing the female towards their display perch.
So it's like a carefully choreographed routine to lure her in?
It really is.
Okay, I'm picturing them doing some kind of elaborate aerial dance, guiding her and what happens when she gets close.
Well, as the female approaches, the males start performing these vertical leaps, almost like they're bouncing on a trampoline.
So they're showing off their agility and energy?
Precisely. And if the female likes what she sees, she'll hop onto the perch, and the dance gets even more intense.
Oh, really?
The males begin leapfrogging over each other, getting closer and closer to the female.
It sounds like they're trying to outdo each other, even though they're supposed to be working together. Does the female play any part in this, or is she just observing?
Oh, she's definitely an active participant. She'll hop back and forth on the perch, signaling her interest and encouraging the males to continue their display. But here's where things take an unexpected turn.
Okay.
After all this elaborate choreography, one of the males simply leaves the perch.
Hold on, one of them just walks away after all that effort.
And it's always the alpha male who remains in a gup. He then performs a solo display for the female's swooping flights, wing clicks, and this amazing whoosh sound as he flutters down towards her.
So it's like a two-act play, first a duet, then a solo performance. Talk about mixed signals.
It certainly seems that way from a human perspective, and sometimes there can be conflict within this seemingly cooperative system.
Really?
For example, a female might try to mate with the beta male, but the alpha will often intervene, chasing the beta away.
Oh, wow. So there's drama, too. This is more than just a dance. It's a whole soap opera playing out in the trees.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't explain why the beta male would go along with this. Why would he put in all that effort for seemingly no reward?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
It's not about kinship, as they're not closely related, and it's not always about inheriting the territory or the alpha position either.
Right.
Researchers believe it's a longer-term strategy.
So maybe it's about building a reputation, like he's showing the females, hey, I'm a reliable wingman. I can be trusted.
That's one possibility. Emily Duval, a researcher who has dedicated years to studying these birds, suggests it might be about demonstrating commitment and reliability. Remember, these birds can live for quite a long time. They're playing the long game.
It makes you wonder if they have a concept of the future, like they understand that helping the alpha now might benefit them down the line.
It's an intriguing thought.
Yeah, okay, so we've got intrigue, we've got drama, we've got long-term planning. This is better than any reality TV show.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about another group of birds known for their impressive courtship, displays of the birds of paradise. Now, these guys are the true showmen of the avian world, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're like the fashion icons of the bird world. Each species sporting unique and often outlandish plumage.
I know we're talking elaborate feather capes, ridiculously long tails, feathers that curl and shimmer in the sunlight like something out of a fantasy novel, and their displays are just as extravagant, right?
Oh, absolutely. Take these superb bird of paradise, for instance. This bird can completely transform its appearance.
Oh, wow.
It spreads its cape, creating this super black oval shape that seems to make its head disappear.
So they're like shapeshifters. I'm trying to picture this, and it sounds a bit surreal.
It really is. Imagine a small black velvet disc bouncing and bobbing in the forest with a bright blue smiley face right in the middle.
Okay. I'm both fascinated and slightly creeped out. And what about other birds of paradise? What kind of displays do they put on?
Well, you've got the red bird of paradise, which hangs upside down to create a perfect heart shape with its wings and tail feathers.
Oh.
Talk about a dramatic gesture.
It's like a literal Valentine's Day card come to life.
Right.
Okay. I'm sensing a theme here. These birds are all about the theatrics. What else have you got?
Well, then you have Corolla's Parotia, which performs this incredibly elaborate ballerina dance. It meticulously clears debris to create a dance floor, lays down a mat of soft fungi, and then goes through a series of bows, hops, sways, and waggles.
Wait, they prepare a dance floor that's attention to detail?
Yeah.
Did they have any other signature moves?
Oh, they even do a figure eight with their heads.
What?
It's an incredible display of coordination and precision.
The effort these birds put into courtship is mind-boggling, but it all comes back to that question, what's the evolutionary advantage of these elaborate displays?
Well, this is a question that has fascinated scientists for centuries, even Darwin himself.
Yeah.
He attributed these displays to his theory of sexual selection.
Right, the idea that females are driving the evolution of these traits by choosing males with the most impressive displays. It's survival of the sexiest, essentially. But wasn't there some debate about that theory?
Yes. Darwin's contemporary Alfred Russel Wallace argued that it was more about male competition than dominance rather than female choice.
Huh.
And for decades, this view dominated scientific thought.
Oh, wow.
But now we know that female choice plays a significant role in shaping these displays.
So it's not just about showing off to other males, it's about wooing the females. It makes you wonder, what are they looking for in these displays? Is it purely about aesthetics?
That's a complex question that brings us to the heart of the matter, what matters to the female bird.
Yeah.
And to answer that, we have to try to see things from her perspective.
Seeing the world from a bird's perspective, that's a challenge. I mean, it's like trying to imagine what it would be like to see ultraviolet light or hear sounds, that are beyond our human range.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We often forget that other animals experience the world in ways that we can barely even comprehend. And when it comes to understanding bird courtship, we have to consider their unique senses and perceptions.
Like you said, some birds can see ultraviolet light.
Right.
Which opens up this whole world of colors and patterns that we're completely blind to.
Exactly.
And then there are those crazy fast movements like the black mannequin's 360-degree flip.
Oh, yeah.
That happen so fast that our eyes can't even catch them. It's amazing.
It's a humbling reminder that our human perspective is just, one way of experiencing the world.
Yeah.
And to really understand these displays, we need, specialized tools and techniques to see and hear what the birds are experiencing.
Yeah, it's like we need to step into their world, even if it's just for a moment.
Right.
Okay, so let's try that. Take the broad-tailed hummingbird, for example.
Okay.
Their dive display is legendary.
It is spectacular.
They reach speeds that would make a fighter pilot black out, all while flashing these iridescent gorgettes and making this crazy buzzing sound with their tail feathers. It's insane.
It's a truly breathtaking spectacle. And what's remarkable is they synchronize all of these elements, the speed, the sound, the color, to create this in-your-face sensory explosion right as they pass over the female.
Wow, talk about a multi-sensory experience. I mean, it makes our human attempts at romance seem pretty tame in comparison.
Yeah, I know.
But what is it all about? Is the male simply trying to impress the female with his daredevil skills, or is there more to it?
Well, there are a few theories. One is what's called the good genes hypothesis, which suggests that these displays are indicators of male quality and fitness.
So, like, the more impressive the display, the better the genes?
Precisely. It's like a biological resume.
Right.
So look at me. I'm strong. I'm healthy. I've got great genes. Choose me.
Exactly.
And there's quite a bit of evidence to support this idea. For instance, studies have shown that female Adelie penguins prefer males with deeper, croakier calls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And these calls are actually an indicator of greater body mass, which means better parenting potential.
It's like they're saying, I'm a big guy. I can handle those long shifts incubating the eggs.
Exactly. And with the winter wren, it's all about the complexity of the song.
Right.
A richer, more elaborate song suggests a more developed brain and better overall health.
Right. Like I've got the stamina to pull off that song.
Right. Exactly. And in some cases, these displays can even reveal athletic ability. The golden-collared manakin, for example, performs these rapid wing snaps during its display.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the faster the snaps, the more attractive the male is to females.
So they're literally looking for the fastest clapper in the forest.
That's right. They got high standards.
It seems like it, but what if it's not all about good genes? Are there other theories that explain these elaborate displays?
Yeah, there's the signal efficiency theory,
Yeah.
which proposes that these displays might have evolved because they're simply good at grabbing attention.
Oh, okay.
It's about being seen and heard in a crowded and potentially dangerous environment.
It was like the bird equivalent of shouting, hey, over here.
Precisely. The brighter, louder, more extravagant the display, the more likely it is to catch a female's eye.
Right.
And this would be especially important for species where, females need to find a mate quickly and efficiently.
Okay, that makes sense. But is there anything else?
There is another even more intriguing possibility, one that kind of moves beyond survival and practicality.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Tell me more.
Well, some scientists believe that these displays might have evolved for purely aesthetic reasons.
What? So you're saying beauty for beauty's sake?
In other words, beauty for beauty's sake.
Wow, that's a fascinating concept. So you're saying that females might be choosing males simply because they find their displays beautiful?
It's a controversial idea, but it is gaining traction. It suggests that female aesthetic preferences could be a driving force in the evolution of these displays.
So it's not just about survival or practicality, but about a genuine appreciation for beauty in the natural world. I have to admit that idea appeals to me.
It does raise all sorts of questions about the nature of beauty and the role it plays in evolution. It suggests that even in the animal kingdom, there might be something more to these displays than meets the eye.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we're just beginning to understand the complexity of these rituals and the forces that have shaped them over millions of years. And to think all this is happening right above our heads in the trees and skies around us.
It makes you wonder what other secrets and wonders are hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to discover them.
Well, I think it's safe to say that you've given us a lot to think about, from dancing cranes to drumming cockatoos to the dazzling birds of paradise. The world of bird courtship is full of surprises and beauty.
It really is. It's a reminder that the natural world is full of wonder and complexity. And the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know.
Absolutely. This deep dive has certainly opened my eyes to the amazing world of bird courtship. And who knows, maybe it will inspire us to pay a little more attention to the birds in our own backyards after all. There might be a spectacular show unfolding right before our eyes if we only take the time to